Hey, it's Aaron, Metal Theologian. Alright, so first order of business for tonight is there's a label out of Peru that's quickly becoming one of my favorite reissue labels. They've done a few like weird sort of South American and Mexican records. They did a couple Spanish ones. They did those Evo reissues, or Evo, or however you pronounce it in Spanish. And they did a Luzbel from Mexico. And this is the latest one, man. And I've been keeping my eyes out for a copy of this for a while, but it's not one that turns up a lot, and it's expensive when it does. So this is Megaton from Mexico. And this is a really solid fucking record, man. It's cool to be able to check something like this out without having me pay piles of cash, too. Incidentally, I've complained on this channel before about labels where, like, you pre-order from them and then you see your shit in shops before your copy arrives, which just seems ass backwards. Modern Harmonic was the culprit that really pissed me off, actually. I pre-ordered a Sun Ra record from them, and I was like, should I just buy this at the fucking store while I'm waiting for the mail to show up? And, like, 3 weeks after the release date or something insane, I ended up finally getting it. But these guys, it's a label based in Peru, and they get their records printed. At least they ship from Spain, I guess. Yeah, it says pressed in the EU by Black Legions from Peru, and that's just a little bit of Spanish I can figure out. Anyway, the point is, man, I got a notification from them, like from their Bandcamp, saying, "Hey, Megaton is out now." And that email came today, and this thing was in the mail getting dropped off at my house today. So if they can fucking do it from Peru via Spain to me, I think Modern Harmonic ought to be able to get their shit together too. Don't you think? Anyway, Modern Harmonic does some good reissues. They do quality shit, but I'm never fucking pre-ordering from them again. Because I don't like to pre-order shit just to be made to feel like a chump. Yeah, speaking of chumps, actually not chumps at all. Yeah, little death metal here. Another classic. This is a smart reissue from a year or two ago, something like that. It's funny, these guys look so young. But, yeah, I mean, it's a really fucking solid death metal record, you know? It's one that, for me at least, took a few listens to sort of get into, but when you really start sort of digging into, like, the atmosphere of it and the vibe, and, you know, along with the riffs and just sort of the parts of the songs, it really comes together, man. It's a cool record. Yeah, when it comes to Finnish death metal, there's no one that can beat the mighty Demilage, but Demigod does a pretty good job, too. It's kind of funny to file right next to each other, too, you know? Oh yeah, the other little thing is, I know I showed this record last time, this Rising Power record. It's an Italian record, which is, you know, decent, pretty decent kind of hard rocky metal record from Italy. It's better than this one, which I also showed last time, the fucking Scanners. But anyway, I had this thing sitting out front. You have me stacks of records here. It's not like I clean this up right away or anything. It was just sitting out here all week and it kept like eating at me. So what did I have to pull out? You probably know this. If you don't, maybe you need to go back and like review the canon a little bit before you, because fucking, right? I mean, I hope I don't have to tell you, but there it is, fucking Rising Power, man. I had that fucking song in my head for like a week, and I was like, why? And then like I figured it out. I was like, oh, it's because that fucking record's sitting there. And then I resisted for a couple more days. I was like, fuck it, dude, I gotta bust out the AC/DC. And you know, there's no shame in that. I still fucking love AC/DC. You know, I don't talk about them as much as I talk about, say, Deep Purple. But I got into AC/DC maybe a year after I got into Deep Purple, so my history with them is almost as long, you know? Alright, so here's a little something else to take care of here. So, as you all know, I was met up with Jason Hook from Boston a few weeks ago. And he gave me a couple sort of care packagey sorts of things when I was there. And the one that was really sort of, actually, you know what's funny is I was staying with my wife Anna, and she's a little bit obsessed with Portland, Maine. She grew up in Portland and she just loves Maine. She talks about it. So Jason gave me a thing of like a 12 of Moxie, which I've had lots of times. I love Moxie. I think it's great stuff, right? But I went back. I was like, hey, here's a Maine thing. Have you had this stuff before? She's like, I don't think I have. You know, and I was like, you've got to drink one of these with me, a 77-year-old. You've got to drink this with me because I'm never going to have another opportunity to turn you onto something from Maine, you know? So it turned out they went over really well. And, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, and Moxie's good stuff. Drink it. Anyway, this is the real sort of like regional one for Massachusetts, though. This is Chelmsford Golden Ginger Ale, I guess, from Market Basket, where you get more for your dollar. And I do kind of love that fucking map. I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for maps anyway, but you know. So yeah, we're gonna try this out. I haven't opened this thing up yet. It's been chilling in my refrigerator while I've been chilling in the living room. I'm gonna pour some of this. No ice or anything, so I get the full impact. God, I usually drink shit out of cans. A 2-liter feels so unwieldy, especially when my records are right there. But that's what we do for our art, isn't it? All right, let me get the cap back on this fucker, and we'll take a look at it. Alright, it's a pretty nice color, man. Nice and sort of caramel colory. I think it's a little darker than some of the ginger ales, but I've been kind of obsessed with Blenheim's from... It's up 95, just inside of South Carolina, near south of the border. I think it's Hamer, South Carolina, is where they make that stuff. I might be wrong. It's in the Dillon area, but I don't think it's actually Dillon proper. Anyway, man, that's what I've been hung up on. Let's see how this one compares. It's really light. Like, it doesn't have that bite, let alone like sort of the heat, sort of like the real like punch that you get from the Blenheims. But there's like a fruity undertone to this. It's really a little bit surprising. This is a good ginger ale, man. Not the biggest ginger ale drinker in the world, you know, but that doesn't mean I don't like it. And this is good. It's interesting, you know. I'm trying to put my finger on what that fruity undertone is, you know. You know, I was getting such like I was gonna check the ingredients, see if maybe there's a hint in there, but I'm sure it's like artificial shit, right? I mean, this is America. All right. So, yeah, still a lot of Italian metal going on here, and a little bit of jazz. Yeah, this is one I think I've shown before, man. As far as I know, the only EP by Rex and Ferry, The Damage Has Been Done. It's a really cool record, man. It's like really, it doesn't have any of these kinds of parts on it, you know. This one's pretty solidly metallic all the way through. It has like an intro or something like that at the beginning, but this is one of those records where every time I put it on, I like it a little bit more and go, oh my god, how come I don't play that thing more often, you know? Similarly, actually, sort of the other Italian EP that I also fucking love a little bit more every time I listen to it is this one, man. This Rollerball record. That's right. This is actually one of the first Italian records that I got. I'm gonna fire up a minute of this just because it's so weird. It's just all over the place. Apparently, the same band like made another record after this one, which might have been a full length, but I can't swear to that. I've never seen it, and I've never sought it out because, frankly, I've never heard anything good about it. Apparently, they went more of like a new wave direction or something like that, which seems kind of bizarre for a metal band. But the metal on this thing is so unusual that yeah, we're just gonna listen to it for a minute, man. Because sometimes the words just don't do it justice, and I like to talk. Alright, this is actually side 2. This is my favorite song. There are only 3 songs on here. And there's like something resembling an intro on both sides, you know? Yeah, side 1, Roller Bach, the prelude. It has that prelude and I don't think they actually do the fugues. I think just the prelude in D minor, I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, it's a lot. Yeah. And the singer is really kind of my favorite part of this. Max Bell. on vocals and shout. Apparently plays the keyboards though too, and I'll tell you man, the keyboards aren't out of place. The fucking titles are Roller Bach, which is the prelude, then Roller Ball, and then Do You Know Alan? And I hope you all know Alan. If not, go check him out at Let's Talk Metal. And then side 2 is Escape, you know, so it's a Metallica cover, right? Ha 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 ha. It's like, what was that movie about the gang fights, like the fictitious, like, gang fights in New York with the Warriors or something like that? Like, I imagine this band sort of looking like that, which I guess is kind of new wavy, but this, like, genuinely rocks, you know? It's hard to imagine these guys going new wave. I might have that wrong, but, something like that. Anyway, man, don't snooze on Rollerball. Outlast the game. Shout out to James Caan, right? Yeah. Anyway. Awesome record. Maybe I'll fire up into the Rex and Fairy, too. Yeah, here's another one. I've sort of been putting off talking about this one because it's hard to come up with what to say about it, but fucking Rod Sacred. There are a few of these that I had to go track down after the last time I was on Metallurgy and Dan from the Colosseum was on. So yeah, I've joked about how that last appearance has cost me some money, but yeah, this one I had to go check out because this just looks so bad shit. I was like, how can I resist that, man? And they sure look rough. They look rougher than these guys sound. And this is probably a little bit heavier too. I mean, this is more of like a straight ahead metal record than this is. But you know, with that sort of Italian charm, you know, that Italian eccentricity. Yeah, I talk about that Swedish magic. Magic doesn't feel like the right word for what you get from Italy, though. It's more like, I mean, not that it isn't magical, because it fucking is. But there's just this weird sort of eccentricity about these records. And it manifests in different ways depending on who the band is. I mean, you can probably hear it in this, just through, you know, not exactly the best sound quality through my fucking phone and that, right? But, yeah, they just, I don't know, man. It's a great record, Rod Sacred. The songs are really cool. There's a great song title, too. Lonely Between Massive Puppets. Yeah, and The Mystery of Quid. I love the misspellings, too. Like, everything about this is just great, you know? Fucking Rod Sacred. Oh, and what the hell, let's show this one too. This is the one I've been playing a lot. Relatively recent acquisition. Old Iron. But backing vocals are so loud. And so just like balls out. Like, this kind of sounds like a high school band, but like a really, really good high school band, you know? Like, maybe, I don't know, man. I was gonna make a joke about the singer being in high school, but how old was Kiske, like Mikhail Kiske, when he recorded Keeper of the Seven Keys with Halloween? He was like 18 or something like that, and he didn't sound like these guys. He sounded like a fucking, you know, mature, like, singer. Yeah, anyway, this is Old Iron. Kind of got a deal on it by compromising a little bit on condition, but, you know, we're gonna fire up a minute of that one, I think, too. I don't know, that one or Rex and Fairy. Let's do Old Iron. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, by the way. It's iron with a Y. You know, I usually know what these words mean on these things, because I've been listening to a lot of metal for a long time, so my metal vocabulary is pretty on point. But, yeah, I mean, there it is on the label. Old Iron with a Y. So someone signed this thing too. I don't know who the hell that was. It could have been someone in the band. Could have just been some guy scribbling. I have no idea. You gotta love it when they start with their signature song. Yeah, anyway, this is another really cool sort of underground sounding one. Here, the color of this one is already completely different. Like, it sounds sort of distant, like they were in a bigger room when they recorded it, and they were like standing further back from you, so there was more sort of echo. The singer reminds me of someone on a new wave of British heavy metal 45 too, but I can't place it. There's a ton of shit today I can't quite put my finger on, right? What a topic for a video. Come and watch me try and figure out what shit reminds me of, but I can't actually think of it, so, oh, whatever, man. We're all getting older together, aren't we? Like, there's this sort of bigness to this record, like this bigness of intent, you know what I mean? And they're really going for it. And the songwriting isn't like really complicated, you know what I mean? It's like they don't have like the epic style down, like, you know, like a Manila Road or a Manowar or something like that. But there's something about this that sort of aspires to that in a way that I find super charming, you know? And that might just be completely like, you might meet one of these guys and they'd be like, that's not at all what we were going for. We're trying to sound like fucking, I don't know, Motorhead, you know? But, I don't know, man. There's just something to this. I mean, it's probably Iron Maiden, you know? Everyone was listening to Iron Maiden back then. What year is this record? I want to say like 86 or something like that. Of course, it doesn't say on the cover. Kind of love how they have the song titles on the front, too, by the way, like on the stairs. I'm not completely clear on what this hand is doing here either, but you know. Yeah, I don't see a year on the label either, so I'm sure someone knows, you know what I mean? It's not like 94, but it's not like 78 either. It's like mid-80s, I'm pretty sure. A lot of the Italian stuff tends to be like sort of more the second half of the 80s. Like, they weren't behind the curve the way, like, you know, Russia was or something like that. But they weren't, like, first on the scene either. Except with a few bands, a few pretty notable exceptions. Like, this record is like, yeah, this is 81. No, wait a minute, I lied. Because it was recorded 82 and 83. There are two bonus tracks on this reissue that were 80 and 81. But some of these earlier, like, Italian ones... I mean, this one's kind of hard rocky too. It's a lot better than that Scanners record, honestly. But, you know, it's not like pure, it's not as purely metallic as this is, you know what I mean? It's a lot more sort of finding its way, you know? It's representative of a scene finding its way too, you know, which is kind of what's cool about records like this. Like, there's a certain place in history that you can sort of, that these sort of represent. I don't know, man, I love it. And I love the fact that there's so much great metal out of a place like Italy, you know what I mean? Not that there aren't a lot of people in Italy. There's a lot more people than in Sweden. But I just think it's awesome how, like, different, like, people around the world, like, have their own cultures and whatever else, but have this thing in common, you know what I mean? And the way it's expressed, there's these sort of nuanced differences, you know what I mean? Both, you know, within a scene because people are trying out different things, but then also these sorts of weird, like, cultural manifestations that appear kind of out of nowhere in the music, you know what I mean? I mean, U.S. metal, you know, it's like you hear about Europeans collecting American metal, you know? That's a big deal, and there's lots and lots of great metal records from the U.S. all over the U.S. because, you know, it's a big country with a lot of population. But even in spite of that, you can still sort of hear a commonality between like bands from New York and LA that are somehow completely different than what you hear. Well, what I'm trying to say is like there'd be differences between like Sweden and Italy, which in terms of distance aren't necessarily as far apart, but there'll be greater differences than what you hear on the different coasts of the U.S. You know what I'm saying? I don't love Japanese metal. I've talked about this before, not like at length because I'm not really proud of it, but there are a few Japanese bands I really like, but for the most part, it kind of tends to leave me cold. You know what I mean? Like if a record's from Italy or Sweden or the U.S., frankly, I'll pretty much jump on it. Mexico, I'll jump on it. Japan, there's a decent chance I'll hold off. You know, if something's cheap or something, I'm open to it, but I don't like go and like search out Japanese stuff. But in spite of that, like I still appreciate that the form that metal took in Japan in the 80s is still the sort of identifiable thing that has characteristics that don't appeal to me as much, maybe, but it's still its own thing, and it's still awesome that like when in Japan they digested this music that it still came out in a sort of unique way, you know. I do love 70s like hard rock from Japan, like Speed Glue and Shinky, or of course I'm drawing a blank on a bunch of bands right now. Shit like Food Brain I really like, you know. Magical Power Mako is pretty good. J.A. Caesar made some good records. I actually have two records by that dude. One I think is kind of crap, but the other one's really good. So, you know. In the 70s, they really tend to be kind of free jazzy, you know, in Japan, so. Anyway. Well, not too big a digression, man. Let's see what else we got in the show. Well, it's cool to see this reissue. This is one that's sort of been like a vinyl community staple since before I started making videos. But I never really paid any attention to it because it was on ECM, and actually it's 81, which is kind of late. But this is Benny Maupin with Jewel and the Lotus. This guy was in a couple of Herbie Hancock's bands in the 70s. I say a couple of his bands. I'm thinking principally the Headhunters band. He played bass clarinet like on Thrust, and I'm pretty sure he was on Headhunters, and you know, just that era. I don't know if he was on the earlier ones, the weirder ones that he did, but anyway, it's an interesting record. It's a little bit spacey, a little bit, I hate to say spiritual jazz, but it's been a little bit much sort of in that realm for what I've been in the mood for lately, so I haven't really digested that one yet, but it's cool that it's out there. It's nice to see a reissue or something like that. This one, though, I've been playing a lot. This Bobby Hutcherson. I'll show some more metal before we wrap up here, too. But I got to get a couple jazz records in here. This record I didn't know existed, actually, until I came across it at my local. I think this is actually the first tone poet I bought, because I've kind of resisted the whole sort of tone poet fetishism, you know. It's, I don't know, man. It's like I already went out and collected all these Blue Notes. I'm not going to go out and fucking pay twice as much or 3 times as much again to get the latest, you know what I mean? There are people who do that. Every time there's a new reissue, they buy the same shit over and over, and I can't do that, man. I want to hear new stuff, you know? I love Bobby Hutcherson, though, and this is a very cool record, man. And not really with the usual suspects, either, as far as the backing band, too, like Harold Land, Stanley Cowell. I don't even know if that name rings a bell. I have to, like, figure it out. Anyway, very cool record. Let's run a minute of Brexit Ferry, because I'm still geeking out over Italy over here. It was funny, actually, regarding that Rod Sacred record. The last video I made where I was talking about Italian metal, the thing was sitting right there. And someone, actually my new Croatian friend, Sebastian, he sent me another message and said, I don't think he has a YouTube account, so he sent me a message and was like, oh, hey, here are a couple bands, if you don't know these, he's like, you probably know them, but if you don't, you need to check them out. Well, there were 3, and I knew one of them, so, yeah, don't give me too much credit here. But he was like, oh yeah, Rod Sacred, and I was looking at it, like, while I was making the video, and I kind of wanted to pull it out for him to show it, because the cover's so awesome. I didn't really know what the hell to say about it, so, it's kind kind of funny. Anyway, well, let's zoom into this one. I can use this brush because it has a little shit on it. Yeah, I'm still using this thing too that I bought when I was in high school. I actually left this with a friend for some reason or another. It's funny, it's probably 25 years ago now. But I ended up leaving it there, and I was like, I'll just keep it. I'll replace it, or I'll get another one, or something like that. I ended up with a different one. And I like this one more, so eventually I traded it back. I was like, here, you take the newer one. I want my old one back. He was like, okay, I don't give a shit, sure. You know, it's funny, this intro kind of reminds me more of Rollerball, the movie, than anything on the Rollerball record. This just seems like it would kind of fit in there, right? Like it'd be the opening theme or something like that. If not for Rollerball, then some other funny 70s movie. All right. I didn't lose any inners today. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, that kind of covers it. You know, here's one. It's one of those that you see, well, honestly, you see it on comps and shit like that. I mean, I feel like I'm taking too long to get to the point now, but I just had to check out this Torme record. Yeah, it was at one of the shops that I went to with Jason a couple weeks ago. And, you know, I generally tend to be skeptical of bands where one of the guys' names is the band name, especially the last name like that, like Torme or Docket. That's the absolute, Van Halen. It's the absolute worst fucking band name to do. It's like, fuck you and your silly ass ego or whatever else. But, so anyway, I was curious about this one anyway, though, just for the hell of it. And it was honestly, it was cheap anyway, and the guy gave me a deal on it too. So I was like, well, what the hell, you know? I have enough records here that I can hide it. So like, if someone like me comes over and like looks for the most embarrassing record in your collection and says, hey, let's listen to this, you know, they probably won't find it. But this record wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, is the bottom line, you know? I mean, I don't expect me to be showing any Yngwie Malmsteen records anytime soon. But this one, if there was anything about this one that was a little bit less than, it's that there's some sort of AOR kind of poppy moves to it a little bit. I was expecting it to be really corny and really sort of, if not glammy, at least very commercial and corporate sounding. And it really didn't, you know what I mean? It's not a great record by a long shot, but I've sated my curiosity. And I'm happy to report that it's not a terrible record at all, you know? Converting Torme. Yeah, and then actually, I might as well show this one too. So I think we're beginning and ending with death metal. Yeah, one of my favorite death metal bands is Suffocation. But like, since I didn't really come to death metal late. I knew when it was like starting to happen. I was kind of paying attention, and I was into it for a while. I was actually really into it for a few years. Then I sort of forgot about it for about 20 years, and I sort of rediscovered it again just a few years ago. And when I rediscovered it, I found all sorts of new bands I hadn't really paid attention to or known about the first time around. One of them was Suffocation, which is probably my top 3, definitely my top 5 favorite death metal bands. But until I watched Metallurgy a couple weeks ago, and Dennis from Analog Archives was on there actually, and he was talking about this fucking record. I was like, holy shit, what's that? It's got to be a later one. And then I went and looked it up. I was like, no, it's actually earlier. I was like, well, fuck, man, I've got to hear that, you know? So yeah, this is a current reissue. This was not expensive at all. And it's really cool, man. I don't know if I like it as much as the first full length, but that was the one that really sort of blew my mind when I heard it. So that's a pretty high bar to like compare it to. Super aggressive, you know, really heavy death metal, just like, you know, take no prisoners type of shit. Balls out. All you know, those fucking cliches you can throw on it, you know what I mean? That's what I really dig about this stuff, you know, I can sort of appreciate the complexity of some things. Actually, speaking of that sort of thing, I know I showed an Edge of Sanity record a few weeks ago. Yeah, I gave another one a chance. I actually gave two more a chance. I gave that one a chance. I found this one when I was in New England. Yeah, Infernal. I didn't love this one. But the Spectral Sorrows is pretty damn good, you know? I suppose I'm trying to expand my palette a little bit more with some of this kind of stuff, but you know something though? I still don't like clean singing in death metal, man. When these guys start doing that, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like, there are parts of this one where I feel where it's singing clean. It's like, yeah, this is kind of starting to sound good again, but like not as death metal. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of gone beyond that, like back in a more sort of traditional metal. That's appealing to me, and I'm like, well, that's kind of fucked up, man. I'm listening to this, I'm trying to like learn more about death metal, not just like have my biases reinforced, you know. So, anyway, it's been a half hour, man. That's plenty of time. So, as always, man, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you soon.